I have always enjoyed the beauty of nature, and I love to try to recreate the nature scene with tiny terrariums and ecosystems. Today, we will create an ecosystem that is full of life, and of course, there is always something at the top of the food chain. Welcome to Serenity Belle Outdoors, where we enjoy nature, reptiles, and amphibians. Today, we're going to meet two new additions to the family, and it's two tiny green tree frogs. Their names are Houdini and Blaine, after the magicians, because they both love to pull disappearing acts. So, we are going to get ready and get started to get them all situated so they can make themselves at home. First thing that I'm going to do is grab the materials that I need to make the layers for the tiny terrarium. We are going to start off with the hydro balls, which is for the drainage layer, which will allow the water to filter through, and it will also be the foundation of the terrarium and helps prevent root rot of the plants. After that, we're going to put in our mesh liner, which is the barrier layer, and that prevents the soil from going down into the drainage layer with the rocks. So it keeps everything nice and separated. Now we're going to put in our substrate soil layer, and you can use a mix of peat moss, coconut fiber, reptile soil, whatever you want for your substrate. After that, I like to go ahead and put in my isopods and my collection of bugs that I have in different enclosures. Right here for my isopods, as you can see, they are multiplying. You can see the tiny baby isopods along with the juvenile sized ones. I went ahead and scooped some up so I can use them in the new tiny terrarium to help with decomposition and breaking down nutrients and matter. I then added a thin layer of moss to help keep the moisture and humidity levels in the terrarium at a good number. Now it's time for the hardscape layer. For this, I'm going to go simple to start with. We'll just use a few branches. This is so I can keep a good eye on them because they are fairly still new and I want to watch out for any signs of problems. A little later on, we can be a little more decorative or creative with the terrarium for the green tree frogs once we move them to the larger enclosure after this initial watching period. I like to use a mixture of fake plants and live plants just because sometimes with the fake ones you can get more of the decor that you are looking for, where it takes the live plants some time to grow. So for now, I'm just going to drape these over the branches, and once the live plants grow in, I'll remove them. Once I got the plants all situated, I decided to go ahead and add a couple more bugs in the terrarium just for fun. I enjoy watching the different types of bugs and isopods exploring, and it also gives the terrarium a more natural look. It makes me feel like I'm outside in nature. And for them, it is like a whole new world. Taking a last look, I'm just moving some moss around to make sure everything is spread evenly. I really wanted to stay with a simplistic look, so I didn't want to make it too complicated or crowded, but I did decide after looking at it that I wanted to add one more piece of hardscape, so I went and found another piece of wood that I can add in. This will be something that the isopods can hide under, and also what the green tree frogs can use as a perch. Lastly, I needed to add the water source for the terrarium. So I just got a simple water dish that I can use and place that in the corner. I didn't want the dish to be too deep, but it needed to be able to hold enough water for the green tree frogs to sit comfortably in. When I was adding the bug and isopod collection, I also threw in some tiny crickets. I have the camera zoomed in really close so they look bigger than they actually are, but they are tiny. And I thought it was funny to have a look to see them explore with all their new neighbors. And they are also there to be feeders for the green tree frogs once they are hungry because they are tiny enough for them to eat. I only put in about 5 because I didn't want them to be too many in the terrarium, but they quickly made themselves at home and found the water source to go in and get a drink. I kept an eye on them because crickets can drown in really shallow pools of water. But they seemed to be okay. They were just drinking right from the edge. Now it is finally time to introduce our green tree frogs, who will be at the top of the food chain, or the predators in this terrarium. We are going to start off with Houdini, who was the best escape artist of the two. And I just wanted to really make sure that I got him into the terrarium because he hopped around the room just for a little bit. But I did manage to get him out, and he quickly made himself at home. And I also saw him eyeing the crickets, so I figured that he will be making a meal of at least one of them soon. But he looked really comfortable in the space. However, when I decided to try to take the holding container out the tank, he decided to live up to his name and jump on it to see if he can take a ride with me. However, he then decided he liked the terrarium better and jumped on the glass. And while he was there, I had noticed that a beetle came to say hello and welcome him to the new terrarium and maybe see if they could be friends. While Houdini got situated, I decided to go ahead and get Blaine ready so he can enter the terrarium. And these two were buddies, so I know they'll have no problem being housed together. I didn't want to separate them. Blaine is much calmer, but he still has some tricks up his sleeve sometimes if he wants to be an escape artist. But I went ahead and brought him in to see how he would react to the new home. At first, Blaine needed a little coaxing because he was hiding under the wet paper towel, and he did not see what all the fuss was about. But soon I lifted the paper towel to let him see what he was missing out on, and after a while he got curious and went ahead and jumped right on into the terrarium, so he was ready to explore as well. Let us take a look at them enjoying their new environment. Well, we are all done with this terrarium setup for now. There will be a part 2 with the live plants added. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. You have a wonderful day. Thank you.